Thinking, the main thing that distinguishes us from all other creatures on earth, but also one of the biggest obstacles that we face. Did you know that about 3 out of 4 young adults are chronic overthinkers, meaning they constantly dwell on decisions, ideas, events, situations in an unproductive way? Another study even found that 43% of men and 57% of women overthink. Well, I guess it's true that what a man can do, a woman can do better. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking that this isn't so much of a problem. Surely thinking more must lead to better decisions and actions, right? Before I go into that, I would like you all to please stand up for a quick activity so we can get a better feel for what overthinking looks like. So if you dwell on past situations often, sit down. If you dwell on past situations often, sit down. If everyone is in the car ready to go and you are still debating if those shoes really match your shirt, sit down. If you always second guess all your decisions, you know what to do. If you keep replaying all your past mistakes over and over and over again, sit down. It seems to fit the jackpot in overthinkers. Now, those are just some things that overthinkers may find themselves doing. And for those of you that are still standing, from my research, it shows that you may not be telling the truth. Overthinking can change the way we do things and work with people, as it affects your social, personal, and work life. Research indicates that overthinking can lead to anxiety, depression, a change in appetite, sleep problems, difficulty concentrating, and a much harder time taking action on anything, as overthinking can present itself as a type of procrastination in the form of analysis paralysis. You see, when we are faced with so many options and we are afraid of failure, we keep thinking, planning, meticulously weighing the pros and cons of each one, hoping that we will feel ready or certain for one of them. Spoiler alert, you may never feel ready. And even if you do, that so-called perfect plan of yours may just need some tweaking. Now, unfortunately, I learned this the hard way. So about 2 years ago, I was on a mission to become more organized. I wanted to start working out, eating healthy, studying, and being more serious about my business. So I thought it would be a great idea to create a schedule. Now, as your classic overthinker, I ended up spending so much time trying to perfect the schedule, and I tried to plan almost every single minute of the day. And in case you think I'm exaggerating, take a look for yourselves. Now, as you'd expect, it was a complete disaster for 2 main reasons. Firstly, I wasn't flexible enough to still get things done when those inevitable surprises and things out of my control happened. And secondly, I always ended up feeling like a failure whenever I wasn't able to complete all my tasks exactly as I had planned. I wasn't even able to start for the first few weeks because I was overthinking it. And when I finally did, I was the most inconsistent person ever because I would constantly stop and try and fix a problem that wasn't even there. Apart from all of these, I was always feeling anxious just looking at all the things that I had to do each day. And I still remember my mom telling me that I was becoming a slave to the schedule. So I sat down, I thought about it for a bit, and she was right. The good news is overthinking is just a habit developed over time. And just as habits are learned, they can be unlearned. So what exactly causes us to overthink, and how can we put a stop to it? You see, we often have this illusion that there's a perfect solution out there. That if you spend enough time analyzing a situation, we'd have this eureka moment and make a perfect decision. But in reality, this is false. You won't always pick the best route to avoid traffic. The pasta you ordered last night might not be as delicious as you had hoped, and you all will definitely make mistakes in life. And really coming to terms with that is the first step in overcoming it. You can also journal to help dump your worries, meditate to clear your mind, and find healthy hobbies to distract you and keep you from overthinking in the first place. Now, if you do feel like you are beginning to spiral towards anxiousness and fear over little things, you should really stop and ask yourself, if whatever you're worrying about would matter in a year, or as a matter of fact, even just next month. And what you'd find is that a lot of the time, you're just making a big thing out of nothing. Now, for those of you that thought I came up here with my notes for this speech, this is actually a piece of paper with all my worries of giving this speech. So whenever any of you find yourselves worrying about a lot of things, write them down, tear the paper away, throw it, and go do something fun for a bit. And when you finally continue, try your best and leave the rest. On the final note, I want us all to fully realize that the best way to get better at anything at all is through experience. Now, I'm not saying you should start a business with your life savings without thinking, oh. Planning is vital, of course, but only to the point where you've addressed the main things. After that, the more you plan, the more attached you become to the plan. So you aren't flexible enough to dodge the curveballs this thing called life may throw at you. For example, this is what my schedule looks like now. It's much less tasking to look at, and I'm still able to remain flexible with it. Sometimes you mustn't see the whole staircase, but all you have to do is take the first step. I'm challenging all of you here today to take action, to take that first step. It can be anything small that you've been meaning to do. Just don't overthink it. And remember, like Mark Twain once said, worrying is like paying a debt that you don't owe. One more thing before I go. For those of you wondering why my title is a bunch of question marks, let's just say I'm still thinking of the perfect one. Thank you.